this angle, I show like 45, 50, when it's lower, it means the stroke will be longer. And we know if the stroke longer, then we can exert strength to the pedal for longer time, for longer period. If it's low angle, then it will be short stroke. Short strokes mean less opportunity to give power to the boat. It means the boat will move slower. By talking the entry, the aggressive effort, not just watch the face of this athlete and showing, that they're learning to execute a very, very powerful entry. They concentrate. It's not showing only the nice synchronization of this skateboard, but showing the face of the athletes when they like suffering and they give, okay, now I catch with full my power. And this has to do through the race. Every stroke like this. So when the athlete is smiling at the entry, means they are not good enough, not strong enough. We would like to have this kind of faces. Watch this other faces. And we have probably not anymore this called the traditional pedals. The traditional pedals, which is flat and not this so-called wing pedal, but I think everybody using it, right? So everybody using this wing pedal, which you said. Okay, then because the wing pedal is automatically go out from them. So what you can see, the entry, the pedal is locked in the water, and then it has its direction is just going out from the kayak. You don't have to pull the pedal out from the kayak. It's automatically going that way, but you can see when you're doing the stroke program. When you're doing the stroke with body rotation, with trunk rotation, just holding the pedal and then rotating. And that's happening. The pedal automatically is moving to the side, And in this movement, we always have some movement that the boat going left and right. This cannot eliminate totally, but with a good technique, it can be minimized. Well, this is a summary. I just want to mention the first again. Attack the water. It means concentrate for the entry, concentrate for the strong entry, and submerge the blade as soon, as quick as possible. Keep it under the water. Keep it under the water. That's it called lock the blade. The last one, I want to mention the last one about the flow of the force. Maybe you are wondering, the force is going from the pedal to the boat through the athlete's body, but the power transmission, it starts from the footrest. It starts with the legs, the pulling side of the leg of the athlete, pressing the footrest, and then this power flow from the footrest through the athlete's leg, athlete's hip, athlete's shoulder, and athlete's arm. This is the way and not opposite, not from the arm going to that. From the pedal is going the power flow to the footrest, legs, and hip, and shoulder, and the arm. So just for your information. The second part of the stroke that we can call this power application. When the pedal is under the water, when the pedal has the vertical position, when the pedal is locked in the water, the blade is locked in the water, and this time what's happening, just twist the athlete's body and then keep the pedal in this position. You can see it's almost vertical, and then this athlete is doing this kind of like effort to keep the pedal, the blade under the water, like the blade. So normally the blade is slack, and then with body rotation, athletes move the kayak forward to the pedal and lead behind. And that's happening. This is the connection to the kayak, the seat and the foot rest or foot brace, and the pedal is vertical. That's the best position to gain the highest speed. And this position can be held only with the proper movement, with the proper entry, low angle of the entry, and with the trunk rotation, with the light blade. You already see this, again, like the blade effort. So you can also see the face of this athlete when it's like the blade is require a lot of power, or is able to transfer a lot of power to the blade and keep it. And you see the two arms, it's in the same position. It's not one is forward, other is back. It's just holding the pedal at the entry and enter the blade and holding and just keep the blade under the water, just pressing down. Look at his face. Or other, look at his face. Like the blade, you see that the position is vertical or close to the vertical, and it's already reached the cockpit and or the knee of this athlete. And you see the two arms together is pressing the pedal into the water, keep it. When I mentioned bend, so you can probably realize, but maybe the next photo showing that between the two hands, the shaft of the pedal is a little bit bending because there is a lot of power between the hands of the athlete. And this time, this has a big resistance when the boat is start moving. So at this point, the pedal is also almost bending, or it's not almost, it's bending a little bit if the athlete is able to give a good force to the pedal. It needs a power, of course. You can see that's another very famous athlete from Canada. And watch his face, his effort, and watch the pedal. You can see between his two hands, the shaft is bending. It's bending because it's pulling and pushing at the same time. The pedal. You see the similar. So if your athlete should have, athletes should have this position, where the pedal is locked, the blade is in the water, and the athlete is keeping the pedal vertical. That's the aim what we have to do. And then you can now already compare your athletes if you're working with kayakers. How they are doing pulling and pushing, and they bending, not bending the shaft, they just bending the whole pedal. It's not using the water resistance. When you take a front view from athlete's movement, then I can explain the shaft of the pedal or the pedal and the trunk of the athlete is always keep the same distance. This is like the chest of the athlete holding the pedal, and this distance between the pedal and the chest of the athlete is not changing. When you're doing like this kind of rotation, you see I'm holding the pedal, rotate my body as I'm doing a stroke, and then this distance always the same. It's not something like this, moving and pushing, just holding. But of course the pedal is in this direction, and you're just doing this body rotation. Again, the shaft of the pedal and the chest of the athlete remain in the same distance. It's not like I'm pulling and pushing. This back. Holding and twist. Holding and twist, and not pedal something like this. That's what you will be practicing tomorrow after with the sticks, and I have a reach that you will understand better. But again, for theory, you have to know this. So that was the second part. Remember, every stroke can be divided into different parts. First, the entry, water edge. The second, when the pedal in the water, and we call this the water application, the strength application phase. And then coming the third one, when you finish the stroke and you exit. I don't see that. Somebody. Coming the exit. So the exit begins at the end of the power transmission phase. It's finished at a stroke about the entry's hip. So when they finish the stroke about in this position, you have to finish it. The seat or the entry seat, you shouldn't let the pedal move behind, because from here to here you cannot equal power to propel the boat forward. It's even braking the movement. So you have to make a quick exit when the blade is reached here, the hip of the blade or the seat of the desert position. And then, so the execution of the entry also a part that you have to properly execute it. The exit is start with the wrist, with the hand, because and then he finish and first the head, and then come with the elbow, and then the shoulder. So you have to do like this, and not opposite way. Mistakenly, when somebody finish the stroke and lift the shoulder and the elbow, and then the wrist in this way, opposite, and reach the hip line, and moving, and then pick up, and then have the alternate position in the other side of the. So every part it has to execute properly in order to have the best technique, and not the technique to reach the best speed. So entry, power application, and now the exit properly. So this is showing about the part of the relaxation. So when you finish the exit, the blade will be in the air. And then you have to pick up the position to have the entry into the opposite side, other side. But this part we call the second part, the relaxation part. When a little bit the muscles losing is the control. Because it's all the time your muscles in contraction, then you can cry. You're not able to handle for longer distance. So the muscles has to work a little bit like a pump. Contraction and relaxation. Contraction, relaxation. That's the ideal, and you can do by every stroke. Sometimes when it's very high stroke, if you are not able to do this, maybe just after 2 or 3 strokes, you can release a little bit the structure of the muscles and also the breathing. But anyway, this is the part for a little relaxation. And this time happened the breathing. On the breathing, happening first exhalation. Finish the stroke, exhale. And then you have to inhale. So exhalation, inhalation, when the pedal in the air. When the pedal in the water, you shouldn't breathe in. No inhale, no exhale. All this happening when the pedal in the relaxation part and the pedal in the air. And then coming the preparation, we can go set up when the other side you're ready for the next entry. So that's a kind of circulation. Then we finish the flow, then we exhale, inhale, relaxation, but then again the muscles should be in contraction to be able to do all efforts for the next entry, for the next water catch. That can happen only if your lung is full of the air and the muscles in contraction. That's, you can see this track rotation and the exit. So that's lady was 29 times world champion and Olympic champion 2 times. And you can see when I'm talking body rotation, when I'm talking trunk rotation, when you see your athletes from the side, then you should see only like this body. Not the shoulder, but the chest or the back of the athlete, depending which side you are standing. So that's we are looking for this kind of trunk rotation. She just finished the stroke. You can see it's now coming the relaxation part, and then the leg is still pressing because it just finished the stroke. So you see the legs, the knee, and then it's a kind of perfect exit with the trunk rotation. Then there's another movement. When we finish movement, finish the stroke, is just coming to the exit. But once again, you see the 2 arms, the 2 hands, it's out of the body. That means trunk rotation technique. And this gives the best chance to reach the highest speed. So that's the thing for everybody. You can see another better how deeply or nicely she is rotating her body at the exit. And then after that exit position, you can see also the pedal is horizontal to the water. It's parallel to the water level. Then you execute properly the movement. Previous one as well, you can see the same here. So the pedal is about same like the water level, it's horizontal. It's showing again the relaxation, even I don't know it's smiling or not, but anyways, finish the strokes, the body is still rotating, the pedal in the air, exhale, inhale, and then finish the body position to prepare the next entry. Here I mentioned the relaxation phase again, the pedal is horizontal. It's the key to see the pedals horizontal or is parallel to the water. Showing you a little bit about relaxation. But you can see all these athletes, they are top athletes, and everybody doing this very strong trunk rotation. But usually missing so many athletes who is stuck in good position. And then I, since visiting countries where I can see many beginners or athletes and coaches, they are able to concentrate this kind of trunk rotation. And for every point of one stroke, it's important. You cannot neglect any part. It's coming the preparation. So that's coming now, the preparation, since it's finished like the relaxation, and this come to the next exit. The next entry. So it's ready for the entry. Finish one stroke, and you see now it's starting. She is holding the breath to catch the next start. Relaxation, preparation. And you see it's different athletes, but of course all these high level athletes, they pedal similarly, exactly almost exactly the same movement. And it's not by chance, it just happens. No. They are get this information and we are teaching them to do it this way the technique. Then start the setup phase. You see the pedal in the position that she will be able to attack the water. I can see her face already is showing ready for the next entry. And this guy also, it's ready. It's almost reached the water. This is the setup phase. And now it's coming the strong, powerful entry. Look at him. This also the world champion. And look at his face. And this is just a preparation to set up. And for me, it seems to me, he said, I have to kill somebody in the water. Because you see how is determining to execute a good entry. That's what we are looking for. That's your athletes should looking for and teaching your athletes to be like this. And be world champion later. Preparation, again, set up in the K2. That's another one. It's a Russian Olympic champion. This also this beautiful synchronization in this K2. But we will talk about different presentation. But again, the face. For me, it shows a lot the face of the athletes. Similar, here I mentioned the dynamic execution because somehow from this picture I can see the dynamic movement of the athlete. Especially because the ponytail of the second guy is showing they are doing the strokes and every stroke started the dynamic track rotation, dynamic execution. Not statistic to put the pedal in the water and pulling and pushing. No, it's executed by one movement, one big track rotation movement. And here I mentioned the leg work. So the racing kayak requires a powerful leg work. And I don't want to go through all these sentences, but it's orally just telling you the situation, the leg press, the proper time, and the proper effort. It's also the important part of the technique. It's cannot technically and say, okay, it's doing well, track rotation. No, it's the body is one part. All the part of the body is working. And then the legs also play an important role for this good handling, for the good technique, and important is pressing the foot by every stroke. Pressing, releasing, pressing, releasing. And now watch this, if I can show. This is a kind of simulation of kayaking, but what I ask you to watch about the dynamic movement of the strokes by this girl, the dynamic movement. That's what I'm suggesting to you. You're looking for to see this kind of movement. And this is not a world champion, it's just a simple girl. I mean simple girl is an athlete from Singapore. But the leg press, hip movement, shoulder movement. It's not pulling, not pushing the pedal, just twisting the track. With very nice synchronized leg movement. And it's never stop, or stop. That's what we are looking for. So you will see now what would be the idea, the body movement. Synchronize every part of the body together. So the part 2 of this presentation about the advanced kayaking technique, I don't know if I should go into it because most of you probably not have athletes in this level. So there I leave this. I just checking if something is very important what I want to mention. Just the top view. So you see this body rotation. Here again, just a vertical pedal. And many times I just repeat this. We are trying to, as explain for the athletes, when enter the water, keep the pedal locked, the blade in the water, and then in this pedal position, just twist the trunk, and then try to move the boat forward. So what the pedal is remaining into the water, the same position, and the boat moving to the pedal, or the athlete and the boat is one unit. Athlete sitting in the boat, and you have to imagine is stuck in the boat or growing in the boat with roots. It's one unit, boat and athlete, and then this unit is moving to the pedal and leave it behind. And it's coming the next exiting the other side. Here I just want to repeat the front forces, heel to the feet, leg, hip, trunk, shoulders, arm, and head. This is the force flow from start from the start. But this is with a proper technique. It's happening, of course, automatically. I just hear and want to mention this happening. What you can see, I mentioned here the trunk rotation and bending the boat. So when this new type of boat came after 2002, then this boat became narrow, because previously we had a kind of limitation, and it was limited the minimum width of the boat. It was like 50 centimeters for the kayaking. And now it's no limitation for the boat. Many part can be engineered, so the boat makers, the constructor, they try to make the fastest boat is narrow. This narrow depends on the size of the athletes, just fits in the cockpit. And with this narrow boat, when athletes can pedal closer to the kayak than previously, then the boat is bending a little bit, left and right. And we just discovered this happens. And first one people eliminate, it's not a good, no, it's a good movement, because this kind of transportation, that the boat is moving on its own waves. Maybe it's difficult to understand, but anyway, if you can see from front you, the boat is moving left and right a little bit, but the same side. When the athlete is doing the stroke, not opposite side, the same side should be bending. Like if I'm doing the left hand side stroke, the boat can lean to left, not opposite side to the right. That is a wrong, it's a mistake. So, but this happens, so if you see the boat moving this way, it's correct, because with this movement, athletes, they like surfing. And gliding the boat. We are about to gliding the boat. It's not going one by one stroke, one stroke, one stroke, one stroke. We want the boat to go continuously to gliding of the water. And by this movement, we put the boat a little bit to the sideways, which is like surfing on the water. This is high level, so you don't have to deal with this. I just wanted to mention. Okay. You see also the boat is landing on the pulling side, left side, and the boat is moving on the left side. Also is leading the boat to the pulling side. Well, the 10th commandment. I just want to read this quickly and then we finish the presentation for kayaking, and more is coming from the practical part. The first 10 commandments, it means that's the 10 things that we have to concentrate on. Teaching or for the athletes. And truck and hip rotation are the driving force. Truck and hip rotation. That's the basic for the kayak. Keep the chest parallel with the shoulder. What I mentioned, it's not changing. It's always move the same distance, the pedal shaft and the chest of the athletes. Always have the same distance. It's not getting closer and getting farther. Like the blade. I think again, I will mention maybe 100 more times how important, like the blade at the entry. Put more body weight on the pedal. It's useful if you can utilize not only your strength but a little bit the weight of the body, which is very important for canoe because the canoe is in a different position, but also we try to use the athlete's body to put on the entry side to the pedal. Keep the pedal vertical as much as possible. Powerful leg work. Okay, then I will mention the pattern. Okay, and the last one, pattern to dynamic. So this kind of suggestion, I'm asking you to keep in your mind and try to teach your athletes to have this kind of commitment, this kind of important part of the technique. The second commitment is not kind of mistakes. I don't mention the mistake because everything mistake who is not doing these things that I explained. So that I don't go through all the mistake. Maybe we can watch this. As I mentioned, this is that you can see the front view showing very well how the body is moving, the trunk moving. The other guy is a Norwegian, it has a little bit different technique because it's an old. So this guy, Adam Köverman, was probably the first to find out this kind of trunk rotation technique. And you see the boat is also bending when his legs is moving very strongly. He was, I don't know, Olympic champion, maybe not. Olympic champion, two times Olympic champion, because I'm a world champion several times. You see the boat is still over when he's accept his body. And the front view always showing very nice, but we want to explain to you about the good technique. The top arms going through in front of the face of the athlete. You see the top hand going cross and cross again. So Zakashan, he has this boat, he bought from Adam his boat, but you are not the champion, but you have the Olympic champion's boat. So congratulations. Yes, I don't know. Because we're talking basic technique, but for 200 meters, we have a little special because it's a little bit different. It's a spring. And that this basic technique should adapt a little bit more for the sprint technique. No, I don't want to mention this. And also we have for the marathon. Also, it's using the same basic technique, but a little bit has different concept because we have to pedal 2 or 3 hours. Then is require a little bit different movement, like the sprint technique or the general technique. But it's just a little alternative. The basic concept are the same. One more thing, then I finish the presentation. It's 2 more minutes and then break. I suggesting the dreams. And this answer is quite good. I can tell you one of a coach who attended the level 3 course from USA. And he asked me and sent me a request, how can I teach my athletes for this technique what you explain? I try, but it's somehow it's not working, it's not moving. Can you give me some advice? Then I established these drills. And these drills, it means you're concentrating only one part of the technique. Because it would be very difficult for everybody, for beginners, or even more difficult for athletes who already has a technique and pedal for years to change something. That's the most difficult thing to change, because the nerve muscular coordination is don't let us to change dramatically something. So anyway, these drills, it means only to concentrate always only one part of technique. First, drill 1, practicing entry with locking play. So this time you ask the athletes, just enter. Other part is not important. After the entry, they can finish the stroke and do it again in the other side. So they concentrate only one thing. And this is generally it's a kind of advice. If you coaching the athletes, you always ask them to concentrate one thing, but you want to make them to do it better. Because if you tell them more information, then they get confused and not able to follow you. So always it's a kind of methods, teaching methods, which is one part. You ask them to do this, do this, do this, and then you can have something else. So the drill number 1 is for locking the plate, just the exit. And then the number 2 is practicing with the early body rotation. This time you ignore about how strong is the entry. It's important after the entry should be executed with trunk rotation. And that time you just rotate the trunk, rotate, twist your trunk. And that's more important. And then you don't pay attention how the entry, how strong, how the exit, and other parts. So always concentrate for one part, 3, 1, 3. Then you can put together 2 parts. So when you have the first one is the entry, like the second was about the trunk rotation. Now you ask the athletes to doing the enter with trunk rotation. That's the third. And going this way. 1, 2, and then go to the 4, 5, 6, execute with force. So then you add more and more and more different parts to build up the athlete's technique. You have to combine like before the first 4 and then coming to concentrate number 6 in the leg works. Then you focus in the leg works. That time you don't care about how they are doing the other parts. You just ask them to do the pressing properly. The knees going up and down. And then put together the all. So I don't go just because you can get this. Probably this kind of presentation you can find yourself. Just some advice at the end. And when you're doing these drills, then you have to have a kind of pace that about 90 minutes. So one part can be about 1.5 minutes, and then change the other things. And before you execute these drills, you have to explain very clearly that it's what you're expecting, what you have to do, and then they have to understand and follow your advice. And then I've been suggesting to each they should be repeated this time 10 times per set. And so there's a kind of advice how to can make this kind of drills. But I get a very good feedback after I established and he's using, and he said, oh wow, the athletes could change. They understood now what to do because they had to pay attention only one part of the technique, and then they live together. So I suggest you to do this. So thank you for your attention. You have a rest, and then we have a 10 technique after. Came up as the final World Championship. If you like this, you can watch.